Welcome to the Typical Sportsman podcast. I've got Mr. Devin Apple, founder of Hunt B&B, which is a really cool website that'll help you find lodging wherever it is you're trying to go hunting. If you've got some public ground, or maybe you're hunting with an outfit that doesn't offer lodging, these guys are it. I promise you. It also is just a great place. If you go on the listings, like even if you just want to go on a hunt somewhere, go check out the listings and it might say great public access near the, whatever area. So it's a great way to find public areas to hunt and then give you lodging while you're there. It's all beautiful cabins and places to stay. They're all hunt friendly, if you will. So go check out Hunt B&B. But we really get down to perspective as an outdoorsman. That's what the whole episode is about. Regaining a good perspective of why we do what we do. Regaining the right perspective on the animals that we kill and that we choose to hunt. It is a phenomenal episode, and it's something that was fresh on my heart because I was incredibly humbled just this last week when I was sitting in my tree stand and just thinking about why am I doing this? What animals should I kill? What deer? What buck should I kill? And I was convicted of my perspective. So it's a really, really good episode on the perspective of why we do what we do. This episode is brought to you by my friends over at Blocker Outdoors. No matter what you choose to hunt, whether it's turkey, deer, going out west, they have clothing for your next pursuit, and it's not going to break the bank. Blocker makes incredible gear at a really, really good price. They offer it in a bunch of different camo patterns. And again, no matter what pursuit. They've also got some incredible lifestyle gear just for going out to work on the farm, hanging tree stands, checking cameras. Go check out Blocker Outdoors. You will be glad you did.
For the true sportsman, it's more than a pastime. It's a way of life. Embrace the lifestyle of hunting, fishing, and the thrill of the wild. Live the life. Be typical.
Let me share a little bit about why I am so passionate about Mountain Ops. Yeah, they make incredible supplements to help me in my everyday life, on the mountain, in the gym. Great supplements. However, they also support my rights as a hunter. They're also Christian owned, which is something that I value a ton. And then third, through Operation Conquer Hunger, for every order that's placed on mountainops.com, they're providing a healthy meal to a family in need. Guys, if you use supplements at all, I would highly encourage you to look at not only the supplements that a company is pushing out, but also what that company represents. So guys, go check out mountainops.com because it's a company that I can not only support because they make great products, but because they support the same things that I support. They support me as a hunter as well. So guys, go to mountainops.com, use code TYPICAL. That's going to save you a lot on your order, and you're still going to provide a meal for somebody who's in need of a healthy meal. Mountainops.com, discount code TYPICAL. Go check them out today. My favorite product by far is Ignite. I use it every single day. Before I podcast, before I sit down to work, before I go to the gym, I use it all the time. I use it on the mountain religiously. Ignite is my favorite product by far. However, they have a full line of supplements to help you conquer the mountain, conquer the day, conquer work, whatever you're looking to do. They've got something for you. Mountainops.com, discount code TYPICAL. Devin Apple, how the heck are you, man?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Do they call your dad the Big Apple?
No, they do not. Big John is what they call him.
See, I'd call him the Big Apple if I knew.
Yep.
That's just what I'll call you. Since you're the only Apple I know, you're just the Big Apple.
That works for me.
Devin Apple, founder of Hunt B&B, which in my opinion, you guys know I'm passionate about people who see the industry, who see something missing in the industry and want to help fill that gap. And that's what Devin did. And I'll tell you, before I started working with Devin, I just wanted to have a phone call with him and get to know him, chat with him a little bit. For one specific reason, I didn't tell Devin this, but there's been some cool apps developed in the past, some websites, some apps, and you think, man, that's pretty cool. And then you talk to the guys, and they're just nerdy developers. They're not actually hunters. And now, again, while I'm thankful for the products they're producing, I'm like, man, you're not even in the industry. Like, you're just trying to make money off the industry. You're not even part of the family. You're not part of who we are.
Yep.
You don't necessarily disagree with our way of life, but you're not, you're not in it. You're not, again, I don't want to say one of us, like we're some exclusive club. And if you're not a hunter, then you can never join the ranks. Cause I would encourage anybody to become a hunter and start hunting and fishing and enjoying the thrill of the wild. However, like there's just some of those guys I'm like, man, you just saw an opportunity to make money. Like it's not what you're passionate about. It's not what you love. And it was very apparent that Devin is a passionate hunter. And so I was like, dude, I'm all in, man. You're a passionate hunter. You love the industry, you love the outdoors, and you saw a need and you wanted to fill it. So with that being said, how did Hunt B&B come to be?
Well, originally had the idea quite a few years ago. And before I started getting into real estate a little bit more, I figured out, I thought I could just buy my own properties that I could put people up in near public hunting ground, because that's what me and my buddies do. We travel all around the country and we just basically stay at Airbnbs. So that's kind of how we came to this. We've stayed at a lot of not so great hotels and sketchy spots. So we figured out that Airbnbs were kind of more our speed. And not being able to just buy properties everywhere across the United States, we started working with different, owners, all short-term rental owners all across the country, and found that there was as much of a need for them to have hunters or fishermen or outdoorsmen in general come to their properties as much as the vacationers. So it kind of worked hand in hand together, and started reaching out on Facebook, Instagram to a bunch of different, property owners that I could find that were situated near public ground. And just trying to expand the opportunities for people. A lot of people, met a lot of people this year, it being our first year, really launching, set up a TAC. And, the guys were coming from all over from TAC, driving from Illinois, Maine. And we always asked them, we're like, do you ever hunt out of state? And they said, no. And they said, why? We are like, why? And they're like, well, it's just kind of overwhelming. And I can see how it's definitely overwhelming to a person that's never done it before. But so what we aim to do is kind of lay it out for somebody to make it more accessible for everybody, because there's a lot out there to enjoy. And I don't think that being limited by being able to pay a guide or something should inhibit anybody from, getting to experience what they have out there in the country. So. Yeah.
And that's something, what you said, it makes perfect sense, because a lot of these Airbnb properties, vacation properties, rentals, their downtime is the winter. They don't have anybody in them. Nobody's looking to go to nobody's looking to go to these places, over Thanksgiving break. That being said, I actually just got off the phone with somebody from TAC, and one of my favorite TAC events is Broken Bow, Oklahoma, mainly because it's the closest one to me. But we've turned. I actually leave for Broken Bow here in 2 days, because you go there for TAC and you're like, dude, all these incredibly beautiful cabins are for rent. Yeah. And so me and my wife have made that kind of our little weekend getaway place. We just rent a cabin and go down, and so it's our anniversary weekend. So we're going down to stay at Broken Bow and just get a beautiful cabin there. So it's funny I say that, because we're looking for a vacation place. But anyways, the majority of these places are empty during the winter, all winter long. And you even talk to places that have several cabins, and they're like, man, we're pretty empty this time of year, and they just need people in them. And so what you're offering is not only good for the outdoor community, for the hunter, but also for these property owners. It's a win-win for everybody, in my opinion. Dude, we started to kind of share some stories, and I could share stories all day long about, finding somewhere to stay for a hunt, and then it's not what you expected, and you're like, this is miserable. And it almost, no matter how good the hunting is, it almost kind of ruins the trip, because you're like, dude, this place sucks. Like, I remember one time we get to this place in South Texas, and it was a trailer, like a straight up trailer in the middle of the desert. And we're like, well, it'll work. There's javelinas all around us, so that's good. And then we get in, and I was filming a show for the time for Mossy Oak, and at, like, literally the first words in my mouth were like, to my cameraman, we're like, all right, well, let's not show the sleeping accommodations in the video. And then, like, we get in and we're setting our stuff on our beds, and my producer sits on his bed, and we're there for like 5 minutes just talking, about how we're going to hunt in the morning, what we're going to do. And my producer just gets up freaking out. He's kind of a germaphobe. And he's like, nope, I'm out, dude. I'm gone. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, there's freaking bed bugs, dude. I'm out of here. And I hope he's listening, because this was like, it was the funniest night ever. Mm-hmm. And, we're trying to calm down. We're like, dude, it's not bed bugs. And just shut up, get over it. And then like 3 minutes later, one of my other buddies was like, oh, dude, they're bed bugs. They're out. Like, I feel them. And like, we're all like throwing our bags outside as quick as we can so they don't get in our clothes and stuff. And so literally, we get there, we drive overnight to get to South Texas, and we're running on like an hour and a half of sleep. And then we got to pack up and move. Like, we're like, well, we're not staying here. Like, I'm not taking bed bugs back to my house. Mm-hmm. So we're there for 5 minutes and got to literally drive back to town and get a hotel. It's like, man, it's rough, dude. And so I like that somebody is offering you like hey, we've stayed here. We've seen the properties. Not only is the hunting around there great, but the property is good. You can trust it. I like it, man. I'm a B&B guy. Like I told you that on the phone. I don't do hotels. I'd rather have my own place. I'd rather be able to do my own thing. So even if like we're just looking for a place for the night, just driving through town, I just tell my wife, like, get on Airbnb and find us a place to stay for the night. I just don't like hotels. And so I really like this, man, that you're giving people a place to stay. Now, have you thought about, maybe I shouldn't say this on air. If you need me to edit it, I will. Have you thought about like getting with an Onyx or a hunt stand or
I'm trying to, I've reached out to, two of those companies to try to get something set up, because I think it kind of goes hand in hand with what we offer. Because we try to also incorporate a sort of hunt planner, was what we call it, an itinerary to kind of set people on the right path. Because again, it is kind of overwhelming if you've never done it before. And there's also, being that we are working with the property owner, oftentimes they have some inside knowledge too about the area. And it might not be that they're hunters, but if they live there and they drive around all the time, they'll see deer. They'll tell us where the deer are, be like, hey, over on so-and-so's ground, we always see deer, or when I'm doing this. So we kind of have that as an advantage working for us as well. But we try to offer the scouting packages, which I do involve some level of online mapping with, where I try to lay out scenarios that in the specific areas that I've been to, like what kind of terrain features I look for, or, what type of habitat am I kind of focusing on at a certain time of the year, because everybody's time is going to be different. And also the age of the people coming is different. Sometimes it's a bunch of 20-year-olds and, you can run around and you can send them way back in 4 miles to go do something. Whereas if you might get a group of retired guys that wants to go hang out for the senior hunt for the rifle, they might only go a couple 100 yards from the road. So we try to accommodate a wide range of people by providing them with stuff on Onyx, Spartan Forge, whatever the mapping software is that they prefer to use at the current time. But yeah, we're definitely looking into hopefully partnering with somebody in the future for that.
See, that would be really cool. I mean, because that is it's a whole nother layer to add to it of like, okay, I found some good public ground, but it's, 2 hours from the closest sleeping accommodations.
Yep.
Have you thought about and I don't mean to turn this into helping you develop your app podcast, but have you thought about a free layer where it's like, hey, there's some camping close by, like,
yes.
Yep, like here's good camping options.
Yep, we're working towards that because there is a bunch of campgrounds in some of the areas that we deal with already. And that's actually how we found some of them. They have cabins on the campground, but then like one of my buddies, Lane, he travels around a lot with, he has a Freedom camper in the bed of his truck. And sometimes he just needs a place to crash, that's small. Like he doesn't need the whole Airbnb. He's just staying for the night, maybe passing through, or he's going to be bouncing around to a couple different spots. For somebody like that, that's who we're trying to cater to with that is, allow the campgrounds to come and post on the website as well to help advertise. Cause I think that would be a great addition.
Yeah. And that's something too, like, a couple of my bad encounters were with my wife, and, I think I told you about that. My wife is and I can say basically whatever I want to about her because she never listens to the show. I say that there was a special needs kid in my church, and he's my biggest fan, which says something about the show, I guess. He's my biggest fan. And one night we're sitting at dinner after church, and he pipes up and says, "Hey, Chrissy, Dylan says he can say whatever he wants to about you because you never listen." And he proceeds to tell her every bad thing I've ever said about her,
Nice.
which is great.
Nice.
So I banned him from listening to the show. She's a straight up yuppie dude through and through. And like I've had to leave several hotels just because she's like, I'm not sleeping here. Like, let's just go find somewhere else. I'm like, great. But the couple times I've talked her into going on a hunt with me, like one time I was under the impression like, hey, we're going to this bear hunting outfit and they have these gorgeous cabins. Like you're going to be lounging in a cabin next to a fire on a lake. Like it was not that. It was, you know, a rinkety dinkety cabin. It's like, hey, the outhouses are out back. And I was like, oh, dude, she's going to freak out on me. Like she's not going to like this. But I say that to say like, yeah, there are different experiences I like to have. You know, if I'm going to Idaho with the boys, like I just want to find some public ground I can camp on and throw up a wall tent camp for the week and have that experience. Whereas like if I do take my wife on a hunt, it's like, you know, she's bougie. Like I want to find her a cabin. I want her, if she does decide not to go out one morning, I want her to be able to, you know, chill in a hot tub or sit by the fire and watch a movie. And like, I want her to have that experience. So there are different times, like I might be going to the same place, but I want a complete different experience. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so it's good that you're that's part of the plan because, you know, I like to get out in the country, sleep under the stars with my buddies in a tent and rough it. But I also, you know, if I'm going with her, I want it to be more of a enjoyable trip for her. So that's cool,
we definitely found that out during TAC. We set up a TAC this year and over in Seven Springs in Pennsylvania. And we were kind of in the line where the registration was backing up to. And I've pretty much everybody's wife that was standing in that line came over to the tent and wanted to, you know, ask a couple questions about it. And I heard multiple people walk away going, oh, this is something we could do, honey. Like, I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly, you know, then it kind of involves everybody and everybody, you know, gets something out of it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, man. My tip to the listeners though, don't get your wife involved in hunting.
That
I should have listened.
Can of worms.
I should have listened to my dad. Like the dude was wise and he's like, why do you think I've never taken your mom hunting? Cause like, I want to get away from your mom to go hunting. And, now it's middle of the rut here in Kansas. And she's like, hey, when do I get to go out? And I'm like, well, I'm hunting right now. Like, you're staying with the kids. Like this is a prime day, you know? Don't get your wives involved in hunting. I actually had to bribe my wife this year, to go on a hunt. I booked a bear hunt in Idaho for both of us. And it was one of those deals. Like I come home from the elk hunt and I was like scared to tell her. I'm like, I booked a spring bear hunt there too. And she's like, she just pipes off. And of course, this is like 6 months in the future. She's like, well, I'm going to go with you. And I'm like, really? Like we're sleeping in a tent, mama. Like you're going to be pooping in a hole. Like you ain't going. And she's like, no, I'm going. Cause I'm not staying home with these kids again. And I'm like, all right, well, so I paid, you know, I booked her the spot, got her a tag. And 2 weeks before the hunt, she's like, I don't think I want to go. Like, you're right. This is not mosquitoes, snakes, you know, tent, pooping in a hole. Like, I'm not for this. Well, she's always wanted a French bulldog. And so I was like, well, I'll tell you what, you go on the hunt and I'll buy you a French bulldog, but you got to act happy about it the entire time. And like, you got to be smiling the whole time. And so then I upped the ante. I shot my bear night one and we're sitting there. She's got her bow in hand. And even still, she's like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, why don't you just shoot my bear? And I'm like, no, like, first off, it's illegal. Second off, no. Like, and then, so I told her, I said, you got to kill a bigger bear than me to get that dog. And so she ended up shooting a bigger bear than me. Nice. We got a Frenchie when we got back. The amount of people that have like called me or texted me like, dude, I'll go bear hunt with you. You ain't got to buy me a Frenchie. I'm like, yeah, but like, I don't want to cuddle up next to you at camp. Like I wanted to cuddle up next to her at camp.
Yep.
So where's home for you, Devin?
I live in just outside of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I'm over in Amish country.
Awesome. So do you go to Lancaster Archery a lot?
I do. Yep. Actually, Chris Scott down there, I used to work with him. I think is general manager of that store now. That's the main reason I go down there. I know those guys from working at Kinsey's back in the day over here, which is now, I think it's called Freedom Outfitters now. So I buy all my bows down there now. Got this Hoyt from them. Got my last other bow from them. So they're great down there. I love going down there. They got pretty much everything. I like the range. And they actually have some knowledgeable techs in there. That's hard to come by where, you know, you can pretty much trust everybody behind the counter to work on your bow. I trust every single person down there to touch my bow. So, I'm a big fan of Lancaster. They've been a supporter of the show for a long time and they're just, I've said that 1,000 times. Like they are
you can trust them because they know archery. Like,
absolutely.
Again, going back to like, there's people in the industry that don't even hunt. Like there's people that are working on bows at bow shops that don't even shoot bows. And it's like, man, I don't trust people that don't do it. Like they know the products because they use the products, and that's why I trust them. And so, yeah, those dudes are legit, man.
For sure.
So do you spend a lot of time traveling to hunt? Like what's your kind of,
I don't hunt around here too much. Honestly, I spend most of my time, if I'm in Pennsylvania, I spend it in the Allegheny National Forest. I've been hunting up there for 12 plus years now. And it's just, to me, that's like, I don't know, that's like home hunting to me. That seems like the epitome of Northeast whitetail hunting in the big woods. So I do that a lot. I travel down to Maryland, Delaware. And then other than that, pretty much we're traveling out west. We go, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, we kind of just bounce around.
Awesome, man. Maryland and Delaware is a couple sleeper states when it comes to whitetails. Like Absolutely. A lot of people don't even think about them. And I've seen some incredible whitetails. I've got a buddy who went there one year, and now it's like every year. I mean, I'm not missing Delaware.
It's definitely a different, especially Delaware, and Maryland's so different too. Cause if you're in the western portion of Maryland, I mean, it can be like mountains and straight up, straight down type stuff. But then, we hunt over in some of the urban areas where you're 75 yards off somebody's back porch shooting deer. So you kind of get a big mix there. And then you go over to Delaware and it's flat. It's just dead flat. There's which is tough. That's like a big thing, especially if your phone dies and you can't figure out which way you walked in there, and trying to get out of that's tough. But both of them have, great deer. Actually, the biggest buck I've ever killed, I shot last year down there in Delaware. So, what's funny is some people don't wrap their mind around that. Like I live here in Kansas where it's wheat field, bean field, wheat field. And I can get lost here far easier than if you drop me in the back country of Idaho, because it's like you said, dude, there's no creeks, there's no topography.
There's no up and down. It's like,
same.
And you can't see anything. Like you can't
right in front of you.
You can't see then I can see for 476,000 miles, but it's like, okay, well, there's nothing, like there's no reference. There's nothing on the horizon to say, well, that way is this, it's just nothing. And what's funny is I actually, one time Aaron Schneider was on the show, which, he was talking about that. He's like the worst time I ever got lost, like lost, where I was scared, was like in the Midwest, like flat. He's like, I'll survive in the backcountry of Alaska all you want. Like, because there's like, I can look over and see, oh, that's that mountain. I need to go that way. Like, then you get to the Midwest and you look around and you're like, I don't know where anything is. Like I can see. Now they're putting up windmills. It makes it easier because you just see blinking lights for 6,000 miles.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, so is whitetail like you cut your teeth on whitetails, or you?
Honestly, I didn't really start getting serious in the archery hunting. Like I've always archery hunted. Like, I mean, I shot my first deer with my bow when I was 12. But I kind of always treated deer hunting up until about 2020 like a second option because we were big into duck hunting. So growing up, I didn't really I'd go out, shoot the first legal buck that I could the first week of October. And then I'd be like, all right, let's go duck hunting. So I did that for quite a while. And it wasn't until I met one of my good buddies that I hunt with now, my buddy Casey, that I run around with all the time. He was pretty big into archery hunting. He never even hunted before he picked up a bow. And he started that later on. But he got real serious into the deer hunting. And then I kind of the duck hunting in the Northeast is not that great to begin with. And once they started cutting our limits back, like now I think we're down this year. I think we can shoot 1 Canada goose in my zone and 2 mallards. So like, it ain't worth going out to do all that for. So I started bow hunting a lot more. And I think, it was 2020 or 2021 when I was like, all right, I'm going to get serious about deer hunting and try to, make it happen. And then that's when we started traveling to hunt. And since then, been doing pretty well. So
you do know you can travel to duck hunt too, right?
Yeah, we went to North Dakota for like 4 years in a row. We would travel out there, and that just spoils you because you go to North Dakota and it's like you come back to here and our like motto when we're going out there scouting is like if it's not a big enough group of ducks that you have to stop going 70, like it's not a big enough group. There's 200 mallards on a pond. Like, don't worry about it. Keep going. You'll find a couple thousand. Whereas here, if I saw 20 mallards on a pond, it's like game on. We're hunting that. That's what I'm doing. So
see, I have actually a really similar background. Like, I grew up with a dad who, lived and breathed deer hunting, and but also grew up in the mecca, in the deer hunting and the duck hunting mecca of the world. Like, I grew up hunting ducks 20 miles from Stuttgart. Like, and before Stuttgart was what it is now, now it's went so far downhill because there's so many people. But, I grew up back in the day where it's like, I mean, you're going to limit out in the first 8 minutes of light, exactly. It's like, and I remember growing up thinking like, Dad, why do you sit all year long to maybe shoot one bullet? Like, it's pretty stupid, dude. Like, there's these things called ducks, and I can unload a gun, like, and do it again the next day, and the next day, and the day after that, and so that's the mentality I grew up with of like, well, why would I shoot one deer when I can go out and shoot 6 ducks a day, and do it again every single day. And so I grew up cutting my teeth on duck hunting, man. If it was duck season, I'm going duck hunting, like plain and simple. And then you move to Kansas, and the duck hunting is still like phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, you get on like a field goose hunt with the right guys in the right place, you might shoot 200 birds in a day. Like, and again, you can't keep your gun loaded fast enough. But I started working in a bow shop and just kind of got bit with that bow hunting addiction, and that like, and now it's the opposite, dude. It's like, man, why go out and shoot the same birds? Like, it's the opposite thinking of like, dude, I've shot so many of them. They're just a bird, no matter what. Like, it's still, just a little bitty bird. And it's like, what's the point of that?
A bird's never made me shake or have the emotions that I did like last year when I shot that buck.
Oh, you're right.
My buddies can attest to it too. The ones that I called after I shot that deer. I'd worked for 5 years down there to kill a buck of that caliber. And that was my largest buck. And I was, for 10 minutes, I was crying, laughing. I couldn't talk. I was trying to talk to my buddy on the phone, tell him what happened. I could barely get words out. I was shaking so bad. That's never happened shooting a duck.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. 100%, man. And that's why, like, I ask people all the time, I'm like, people who are in the middle, 160 whitetail or a limit of ducks. And not one person has ever said limit of ducks. Not one person's ever like, I'm choosing the ducks, Yeah. And I'm not trying to take anything from the duck hunters, because duck hunting is hard and you put in a crap ton of work. That's part of the reason too. It's like, man, it's so much work for a duck. Especially you're talking those field hunts. I mean, you might have to throw out 1,000 decoys. Like, it's a lot of work. So I'm not trying to take anything from them when I say this, but a limit of ducks is a lot easier to come by. Like,
for sure.
I mean, you can shoot a limit of ducks, again, every day for an entire year. The percentage of people that hunt their entire life and shoot a 160, slim to none. Like,
exactly. Yep.
And trust me, guys, like, if you listen to this, I work in the world of Pope and Young. Like, it seems as though when you live in that world that everybody is shooting 160 plus. Like, seems like, and with social media, dude. Yeah, they've made you believe that there's a 160 behind every tree, and that's just not the case. Like, if you look at the percentage of people who bow hunt their entire life, like less than 5% is going to shoot a 160. And that's, so to me, it's like, if that is the reality, like, if you would never shoot a limit of ducks over a 160, then why don't you put more effort in trying to shoot a 160? Like, that's where I'm at, dude. Yeah, I'm the same way. And all my buddies are the same way. I mean, we're trying to be a little bit more selective now because we've shot so many of the 110, 115 inch deer. But dude, when I get jacked up when a deer's coming in, that's all I need. I mean, if I'm like the buck that I shot this year, I rattled in, and when he was coming in, I was so worked up about it that he came into 5 yards and I hammered him. That's all I'm looking for. Have that feeling every time. Yeah. Well, and again, like, so right now I'm in a chess match, and I haven't posted the picture of this buck yet because I don't want to jinx myself and have everybody texting me and ask me if I've killed him yet. Yep. And I don't even know if I can get close enough to the camera. I can see him. But I've been chasing this buck now, this year. I hadn't seen him before this year, but it's like, dude, I'm completely obsessed with killing this buck. That's the only thing on my mind right now. And, you know, every single day I'm sitting there and the wife's like, can we go to dinner tomorrow? And I'm like, I don't know. I got a good win for that tree stand. I think he's going to come by. Like, my whole life revolves around killing this buck right now. And actually I don't want to say I got close because I never saw him on the hoof. I haven't seen him on the hoof yet, but I pulled in my tree stand the other morning and my cell camera's going off. I'm like, crap, dude, he's right in front of my tree stand right now. Like, wouldn't have mattered. It was pitch black, but I'm like, so I had to sit in my truck for 45 minutes to wait until he left. And so I didn't even get into legal light. It was rough, dude. But again, I've never gotten that chess match with ducks. Like, it's always like, you know, you're always trying to find more ducks. You're always trying to scout and find more birds, but it's never like the chess match of like, okay, I want to trick these ducks. Like, and with deer, you get that full year-long chess match, game of cat and mouse. Like, the majority of the times you lose, which is what makes it so much sweeter when it happens. Like,
mostly lose all the time.
I also made the commitment, which was a really stupid thing to do. Sometimes I'm back and forth. Like, I'll shoot some deer with a recurve, some deer with a compound. And this year I was like, you know, I'm going straight recurve like 100% of the time.
Good for you. Cause I haven't got there yet.
And I hadn't seen that buck yet. Like, I hadn't, and I get that picture and I'm like, gosh, dang it. Like, of course, this is the year I said that. And that buck's going to be trotting through there at 30 yards. And I'm just going to be sitting there looking at him. Like, dang it.
2 longbows, and we take them out during the primitive season. But other than that, I haven't gotten to the point where I want to commit to taking it out, because now, granted, most of the big deer that I've shot have been sub 15 yards, just the way it turned out. But I just know that the time that I decide to take that thing out there, I'm going to have one walk by it, like you said, 30 or 40. And I'm just going to be like, there's no chance.
Yeah. The majority of deer, like, if you look at the analytics in Pope and Young, like the 24 yards and in, like, most people aren't shooting Pope and Young deer past 24 yards.
Yep.
And so, like, you hear that stat and you're like, well, dude, I can hit a deer at 24 yards. Like, and you think that, yeah, go out and try it. Oh, dude, I missed a stinking smoker of a deer the other day, which, like I told you, I'm holding out for this deer, but I'm also I don't pass 130s. I just don't. And this deer runs by at like 14 yards, and I just shot right underneath him. And I'm like, God, this is so stupid.
Crazy.
I just wanted to
like that.
I've never wanted to take a razor blade to a string until that moment. And I was just like, just cut it, dude. I didn't, but I wanted to.
Yeah. My buddy actually just called me a little bit ago. He missed one this morning at 30 yards and he was beating himself up about it. He's like, I don't know what happened. He's like, it came in. I thought I didn't range him or nothing. I just was assumed he was that shot, missed. And I was with his compound. I mean, it happened. That's happened to me at 15 yards before. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll humble you.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I called my buddy after I climbed down the tree. He's like, see anything? I'm like, yeah, I actually shot and missed. He said, yeah, it happens, man. And I said, no, when I take my compound out tomorrow, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I've stayed true to it. Actually, so I got the new prime, the new divide, and I purposely haven't sighted in yet, haven't tuned it, haven't done anything to it. That way I can't grab it. Like, I don't have a compound here.
Good way to
I don't have a compound here that's ready to hunt. So I have to take the recurve. But no, I'll tell you what really dawned on me. What really made that click. I was doing a podcast with Fred Eichler, and he said, if I want a challenge, I take a compound. And I was like, what? Like, shut up, dude. And he's like, for real? He's like, now, if you want to shoot ping pong balls at 40 yards and for money, like, I'm going to grab a compound. But if I want to go out and kill something, a recurve is much more effective. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? And he's like, yeah, it takes more practice and more effort to get consistent. He's like, but here's what I can promise you. You and I stand at 18 yards from a deer. You pick the distance, 17, 16, 24, whatever. You pick the distance. We'll both put our bow on a hanger and we'll say go. And I'll have 2 arrows in the kill zone before you have one. He's like, now yours might be in the 12 ring. Mine might be in the 8, but I've still killed the deer twice before you've killed it once.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of truth to that. Like, the buck I missed, can I say this? The buck I missed, I wouldn't have even got an arrow off with my compound.
Just too
because
fast.
of how fast he came through. You know, you would have had to hook your release, come back, anchor, acquire the sight. I wouldn't even got a shot off. But because of the way he was coming through, the way he looped around, and, you know, I was able to get a shot off. So I missed, but I wouldn't have even got to shoot him if I had my compound. Wouldn't have even got a shot.
Yeah, that'll definitely happen. And I can see I've had that happen on numerous times where I was like, man, if I just had my longbow, I mean, it was
Yeah.
sub 5-yard shot anyway, so I'd have been all right.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things with the way that they came, like you said, and then even not even chasing a doe, just sometimes circumstances, like something gets spooked. I've had them run by me while I was like not even ready for it, expecting it in a way that, just happens. It's weird, but it happens.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And I remember like the first year I switched, like not switched completely, but the first year I started shooting a recurve, dude, I practiced all year long with this thing. Didn't touch my compound once. Practiced all year long with this thing. Well, then the hunting season came along and I'm like, I better take the compound out, And this doe's at like 8 yards, 9 yards. And I draw back on her and like, I legitimately felt uncomfortable. Like I shot a compound my entire stinking life, but I was legitimately like in that moment, I was like, dude, I wish I had my recurve. Like I'd be a lot more confident right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then that was like, well, then why do I take the compound ever?
Yeah.
And, there's been 2 instances and I'll tell you why I chose to take the nothing but a recurve this year. 2 different times. Last year I had this gorgeous buck, probably 130 at like 18 yards and I had my compound and I was like, if I had my recurve, I'd shoot you, but you're not worth it with my compound. Like you would be an incredible trophy with a recurve, but my compound, I'll wait for something bigger.
Yep.
And I come home and I told my wife that and she's like, then why not always take your recurve? Like if it means that much more to kill something, why not take it? And I was like, there's truth to that. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You're speaking truth. And then I was leaving for an elk hunt one time and I was like, do I take my compound or take my recurve? Like, I don't know. And again, just through conversation with my wife, which she wasn't even actually a part of the conversation. I was just like talking out loud and she was getting annoyed. And I'm like, dude, I'd rather shoot a cow with a recurve than a bull elk with a compound. And she's like, then take your recurve, stupid. And I was like, okay, like you're right. Yeah. And so this year I just decided like, I would rather shoot the 130 that ran by yesterday and hit him and kill him than wait for the mega giant and kill him in my compound. Like that's just where I was at.
I understand. I get that way too. It's really when you catch me in the season though too. It depends on what I've been doing. And
right.
What kind of season
Yeah. Oh, but, yeah. We're to the part of the season now where if a fork and horn runs by, he's probably dead.
Yeah, it's getting it. Yeah, it's getting it.
Yeah. That little buck I just posted on my Instagram like an hour ago. I've passed that deer probably 20 times. And then this deer, when he came, like when I saw him this morning, I'm like, dude, if I was there, I would have probably shot you. Like I'm just to that point, I'm very patient until November 15th. Then I'm not patient anymore.
Yeah, that's how I was trying to hold out in Pennsylvania for something a little bit bigger. But like I said, if I get worked up about a deer and it's coming in, I'm shooting. And that's exactly what I did. And then, of course, not even 3 days after I shot that deer, that camera's blowing up and there's, it's a 130-inch deer walking by it. My dad went in there actually and was hunting him. Got close, got into 70 yards on him a couple times, but just didn't make it happen. So they're still in there now. We're all going back up. Our like deer camp starts the second weekend of PA rifle. Me and all my buddies, I think there's like 10 or 12 of us. We've been going up for a couple of years. We all get together and, have a normal deer camp. So hopefully I can get one of those guys on it. We missed a lot of big deer last year. So hopefully we got some shooting improvement from last year to this year because it's going to be rough if that's the case. Right.
And again, like when you're part of a deer camp, I guess this all comes down to perspective. Like when you're talking ducks versus deer and you really start to look at that, like through a different perspective, you're like, well, yeah, why don't I spend more time deer hunting? Same with the compound recurve. Like, well, yeah, if that's my perspective, then why not just go with the recurve? Yeah. And the same is true about like hunting with a group. Like, again, there've been deer that I would never shoot. Like if I was just alone, but you want to have that like success with all your buddies. Yeah, like you want to be in that moment with your buddies. And so it's like, again, when your perspective aligns, it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, why don't I go on more buddy hunts? Like if it's that much sweeter to have friends there that I would shoot a deer with them than I wouldn't shoot alone, like why not go on more buddy hunts? And dude, like it's all about perspective as an outdoorsman. And let me just go on a quick rant.
Yeah, go for it.
Not rant. Let me preach to you for a second. I don't know where you stand like with the Lord. I don't know, if you're a spiritual guy or not, but I was sitting in my tree stand the other day and I'm a preacher as well. I'm a bivocational preacher. And so this was Sunday. So I just preached and then I ran out to the tree stand and I'm sitting there and I'm just spending time praying, reading my Bible. And I'm like, God, and I'm talking about a lot of things, like not hunting. Like I'm talking about, we're in the process of planning a church. We're in the process And so I just said, Lord, let my perspective align with yours. And that's what I was praying about, like my perspective aligning with the Lord's. And dude, like I'll never, it was the most, I was sitting in my tree stand crying, and he said, all right, well then don't post a picture of the deer you killed this year. And I was like couldn't understand why. Like I couldn't wrap my head around that. And and it was like, are you only doing it so people on social media think you're cool? Or are you doing it because you love it? And I was like, oh crap. Like a lot of truth to that.
Absolutely.
Because we get so caught up in like, man, I hope everyone on social media thinks my deer is big. Like I hope, man, I hope I get a lot of likes on this. Like, and we've forgotten what it's about, man. Like we've forgotten 100%. Why we do it. And it's like, Dylan, whatever deer you kill this year, don't post a picture of it. I don't care if you kill the banger. Like, I don't care if you shoot the one I just showed. I don't care if you shoot that. Don't post a picture of it. And I was like, okay. Yeah. Like I won't. And I remember telling my wife that, and she's like, she said, you always say you got to go hunting because it's your job. And I'm like, well, you know, that's changed. But, it's all about perspective, man.
I agree. I have my, and like you said before, social media now is like, people think that everybody's killing these giant deer all the time. Like me and my buddies collectively, I know a lot of people spend a lot of time in the woods, but my buddies are pretty diehard and put in a lot of time in the woods. My buddy Junior, he ended up shooting a buck this year finally, but he's not the buck he was after. But like he's put in, I think up until this point, he was up to like 13 full day sits in the season so far. Yeah. I didn't even do that. That's a lot of time in the woods, but a lot of my buddies spend a lot of time out there. And
he's not married, is he?
Yeah. And what area is he? Is that what you said?
No, I said he's not married, is he?
Oh no, he's not married. Absolutely not. Yeah, there's no chance. None of us are yet. So at least out of this group I'm talking about. But all of us spend a lot of time in the woods, and it's like I think the buck, we don't really shoot these big Pope and Young deer that you see, or that you see online. Like we shoot a lot of deer because we hunt urban areas where there's a lot of deer. Me personally, in the last 4 or 5 years, I think I've shot 13 bucks, and I only have 2 of them that are Pope and Young.
Yeah.
So, it's not like they're, like you said, they're not around every corner. And it's also, that's not always what it's about. Like you said, if you see a forkhorn come by, I shot a 5-point in Oklahoma last year. I was so happy about it. Me and all my buddies were together. We had a deer camp down there, and it was just a good time. I don't try to do that everywhere, but it just depends on, like you said, what your perspective is and what you're there to do. But hunting with buddies is one of the things that we started doing a lot more. And like, even when we go down to Maryland, we could split up and hunt different trees, but most of the time we're both hanging in the same tree just because we can sit there and talk to each other a little bit and film each other, try to shoot a doe or whatever. Like that's what it's all about. So definitely.
You're absolutely right, man. And that is why, like if I go on a duck hunt, that's the only reason why, because there's a big group of friends, going to duck hunt, pheasant hunt. Again, we got, our group of buddies is going out and we're going to pheasant hunt together. Like we're going to spend that time doing things together. But I just feel like, man, the more serious you get about hunting, the more, and again, I want people to hear my heart on this. Cause we're both serious hunters, obviously. But the more serious you get, the more you're challenged with the perspective of it. The more I think you lose perspective, the more I think you lose sight of why you do what you do. And,
absolutely.
It's just been like little things like that where it's like over time, it's almost like I'm taking a step back now. I'm maturing by taking a step back. And I would rather shoot, if you were to say, Dylan, tomorrow you can shoot 185-inch whitetail with your recurve on public ground, like, do it the coolest way possible. Or you can go back home and shoot a spike buck with your dad in the Ozark Mountains. Like, I'm going home and I'm hunting with my dad.
I agree.
Now, my dad's going to be mad about it. Like, my dad's going to call me an idiot. But like, that's the perspective change I'm talking about, is like sometimes we get so caught up in the hunt that we lose perspective of why we do it.
Exactly.
And that's why I have the full, here's what I realized in that tree. If you're already worried about what kind of pictures you're going to take when he's coming in, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yep, exactly.
That's it. If you're already thinking like, dude, I'm going to have the recurve in the picture, everybody's going to, I'm going to do the recurve, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
100%.
Like, you're not doing it for you anymore, and your perspective is skewed and you need to realign. Like that's, I didn't even know that this is where the topic of the podcast was going. However, I do think it's important because we're in the heart of it right now. Like, a lot of people are listening to this podcast on their way out to the tree stand. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are listening to this podcast on the way to a deer camp or on the way to a duck camp. Like, and maybe you just need a reality check that your perspective might be off just a little bit.
Yeah. And exactly what you said when you kind of take a step back from it. Yesterday morning, on what's today, Wednesday. So on Monday, I got a picture of a buck I'm after down in Maryland. And I knew I should have been there on Monday, but I couldn't with work. So I was like, all right, I'll go down tomorrow morning. It's supposed to be cool, calm, crisp. I got up in the tree in the morning, well before daylight, which I wasn't intending to be there that early, but I ended up getting up the tree a little faster. But I was just sitting there thinking to myself and looking around. It's like the sun's coming up. Birds are chirping. It's one of those perfect November mornings that like you wait all year for that morning. I'm on the top of this ridge. I can see all the way around me. Yeah. Everything's just calm and like perfect. The sun's coming up. The sky's a little pink. And I'm just sitting there like, it doesn't get much better than this. This is what I wait all year for. This moment right here, to be out here doing this right now, whether it happens or not, it doesn't matter. But I'm here doing the thing that I love. And it's the perfect morning. So I didn't see a single deer all day, but I had a great morning just sitting in the tree and enjoying nature. Listening to the woods wake up in general is one of the reasons. Like nothing brings me more joy than spring turkey season and taking a nap against a tree at like 10 a.m. when the birds
but turkey hunting sucks.
Like I love just sleeping against a tree in turkey season. I'm like, that's where you can find me. I'll just fall asleep. If I shoot a turkey, whatever, don't matter. But I like to take naps against the tree when it's nice out like that. So,
well, man, and that's like, again, going back to like circumstantial deer, I don't know what else to call them. Like, but there's just been that buck I shot at and missed. It's like you're sitting there and it was an incredibly foggy morning. And so the deer came from the east. And so the sun is rising and like you can't see past 70 yards. And I see this buck like emerging from the fog. And I'm like, you're dead, dude. Like, had this been a midday buck where it was already 65 degrees and sunny, I probably wouldn't have even thought twice about it. But it's like, dude, this is picture perfect. Like you're coming out of the fog, like your antlers like split the fog. And like I see you coming and I'm like, dude, you're so dead. Like I'm going to miss you so hardcore. Anyways, like there's circumstantial deer where it's like because of a situation you're going through in life or because, your son is with you at the time or because, man, I've shot deer for really stupid reasons. Like I say that, you know what I mean? Like, the sun was setting behind him and I just wanted to shoot him. Like, but again, it's all about perspective and it's all about remembering why we do this, remembering why we go out. And it ain't for some picture to post on social media. No. It ain't so everybody else thinks we're super cool hunters. Yep. And so, and again, like, I feel like I can speak to this pretty well because again, I live in the world of Pope and Young where like, you're seeing all these banger deer come, like all these massive bull elk and you get to interview the world record holders. And like, these are some of the baddest hunters on planet Earth. But here's what I've learned about every single one of those dudes. When you sit them down and you say, what's the best trophy you got on the wall? Like which trophy means the most? I have never one time, not one of them has ever answered, oh, the world record that I shot 2018 or, oh, that 290 inch whitetail that I shot, or not one of them. It's always like, well, that was the last buck I shot with my dad. Mm-hmm. Well, that was the first buck I shot with my son. Well, that was, whatever. It's never been the biggest. Nope. And as the more that I've heard those stories, the more I'm like, dude, we get so caught up in
social media
trying to I mean, what's funny is like most of these dudes don't even have social media. I mean, we're talking, we're talking Jack Frost, who's 90 years old and still shooting bangers. And it's like, dude, you've never even heard of Facebook. Yep. But again, we just get so caught up in the commercialization of hunting. And man, that would be my biggest takeaway from this episode is like, work on realigning your perspective. Like work on remembering why you do what you do. Work on remembering it's never been about the antlers. No. And, I'll never like, this has been a stressful year as far as hunting goes because I have the picture of the big buck and, it's kind of stressed me out to the max. And, I just remember thinking to myself, like, I'm never going to stand before the Lord and hear him say, well done, thy good and faithful servant, and think, God, but I never shot that big buck.
Yeah, exactly.
I never broke 160. Like, this wasn't worth it. Like, none of that's going to matter.
No.
And even when I'm 80 and looking back at my trophy room, like all of those guys that I've gotten to interview, I'm never going to look back and say, dude, that one meant the most because I was all alone. And, you know, it was a 200-inch whitetail and I shot him. Like, what's going to mean the most is that was the first one I shot with my son. That was the last buck I shot with my dad. Yep. That was the last buck I shot on grandma's property before she sold it. Like, those are all the ones that are going to mean the most.
Yep, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Because mine actually ends up being one of my biggest, but it's also because my pap moved down to Delaware probably like 8 years ago now. So we don't get to see each other as much. When I was younger, I mean, he's the one that introduced me to hunting and fishing. Him and I, every single weekend, I'm not kidding you, from when I was 3 probably until I was 16, I spent every weekend with him hunting and fishing. My mom would always joke she'd drop me off I'd be in the same clothes on Sunday when she came to pick me back up because we just did whatever. He let me do whatever I want, but hunting and fishing is all we did. And like you said, there isn't one time that I've ever told my pap about a deer I shot. Never asked me how big it was ever. He's just like, oh, good job. Like, and that I guess learned that maybe a little bit of my values from him and from my dad. Like, it was never about that to begin with them. And granted, they didn't grow up in this time that we do, but sure, big buck, great, but it was always more or less about you got one, like just kind of doing the thing. It wasn't really about who shot the big. He got a bigger one than you. It was never about that,
right? So,
but I got the buck that I shot last year. My pap was actually down there for, and I got to go recover this buck with him. And I don't think that was probably the first deer he's ever recovered with me since I was 13. So
that's cool, man.
That was very cool. So
that's really cool. There are a lot of great companies making a lot of great bows. Pretty much, if you go buy a new bow today, it's going to be a good shooting bow. However, very few bow companies are still single family owned. Even fewer bow companies are Christian owned, which is a very important value to me. And third, very few companies are really looking to push the needle in innovation. That is why I align myself with Prime. Prime, when I made the switch to Prime and I got my hands on this RVX 32 right here, I spent so much time with that bow. I put so many arrows through it. I took it on several different hunts and several different climates and put it just through about anything you can put a bow through. And it performed in every way that I needed it to. It shoots really well. It balances really well. Super high quality. The materials that go into it are great. And then in 2025 comes the form, which just goes to show you that Prime is really looking to move the needle in archery innovation, which is something that's important to me. So guys, that is why I align myself with Prime. I would highly encourage you to go to a Prime dealer and shoot the bows. I would highly encourage you to go to g5prime.com and check out their full lineup. Prime makes a phenomenal bow, but it's also a company that I can feel good about standing behind and supporting. So go check out Prime for your next bow. I keep saying as an example, the first buck you shot with your son, because it's the only one in my studio, and it's a great deer. But here, I'll grab it real quick while I tell the story. I mean, it's a good buck. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's a little bitty buck. But this was the first deer that I shot with my son, and it was a super. I wish both sides looked like this. This side's a little goofy, but this is the only one hanging out in my studio because it was the first buck I shot with my son.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And again, you talk about perspective. We literally, I told my wife it wasn't a great day to like go hunt and forecast didn't look great, and so I'm like, I'm gonna take my son. He was 5. We're sitting in a pop up blind, and I told my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna take a decoy. That way, if we do see a buck, like it'll be exciting for him. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, dude, I have that decoy out, and this buck skylines like 200 yards away across the top of the wheat field, and my son's like, "Can we kill him?" I'm like, "Well, sure as heck, give it a go, man." Yeah. And I grunted one time. I just bleh, and that deer turned at 200 yards, saw that decoy, and made a beeline to us 200 yards, just coming right at us. Had I not had a decoy, I'd have never killed it because my son was moving like crazy. But he was so locked in on that decoy that he wasn't seeing us. And we shot this deer. First person we called was my dad. And my dad says, was it a big one? And my son goes, Pop, it was a buck. And he said, I know, son, I'm asking you if it was a big buck. And he said, Pop, it was a buck. We shot a buck. and I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, my son could care less how big this buck is. Like, he's just pumped that we shot a buck together, man. Like, that's what he's pumped about.
Yeah.
And so this buck taught me a really good lesson. But it's also just the first one my son was with me. And so, yeah, man, he helped me align that perspective and just, we get so caught up in, was it a big one? And it's never been about that, dude.
Nope. Absolutely right on that.
All right. So I got away from this for a while. I'm starting it back now.
Okay.
What's your number one tip to kill more whitetails?
Spend more time in the woods.
No, come up with something. I'll give you a tip while you think of that. Here's my tip. I thought of this because these are my decorations. They're always sitting on this table during podcasts, but it also makes the perfect set of rattling horns, which I've never noticed. But here's what I do. Here's my tip. The same side. A lot of people want to get a left and a right. Get the same side. What happens when you get a left and a right, which we'll flip these around just to make them like that. You're banging the tines into your hands. You're hitting yourself. And when it's cold and you get a tine to the thumb,
I got the
you've never, 100%, dude. But if they're the same side, then you can lay them this way. And my hands are completely out.
I'll show you my rattling antlers. You want to see something crazy? I'll show you my rattling antlers.
Are they like 200 inches? Going to make me mad?
They're actually ridiculous. It's a pair of mule deer sheds that I found in Nebraska.
Dude, I've got a buddy just like you.
I swear I carry them. I actually got pulled over the other day for speeding, and the cop saw these in the back seat and goes, "That's the biggest set of rattling antlers I've ever seen." And I said, "Yeah, my buddies tell me that all the time." He's like, "You carry them in the woods with you all the time?" I said, "I got these when I was on a turkey hunt like 5 years ago. I found them right where I was turkey hunting in Nebraska. And I was like, I'll take those home with me. I fit them in my suitcase, and I got back. I'm like, well, what am I going to do with these things? And I needed rattling antlers one day, and I don't have a good set of rattling antlers. So I've been using those ever since. I've killed now, I think, 6 bucks with those. And I just carry them in the woods with me all the time, but they're ridiculous. They're so big. I mean, it's dumb.
I've got a buddy the same way. He carries like a set of 180s around, and I'm like, why?
If I found a better set, I would use them. It's just I have nothing else. And my dad uses like little antlers, and I'm like, I don't like the way that sounds. When I bang these together, it's got some meat to it. So I was like, I just like using these, but I'm looking for a pair.
Well, here's my tip. Find one, and again, same sides. One just a little bit bigger than the other, because again, it's just going to protect your hand. You can hold the bigger one, and you'll never hit your hands.
That's pretty good. I cut the brow tines off of these, but I stabbed myself so many times with them.
It's ridiculous. You'll do it too. So that's my tip.
I think
same side
for you. I got a better one for you. So this is something I learned. I actually brought it up here in case I was curious what you thought, because you're the scorer, not me. This is the buck that I killed. I guess that would have been last year.
I'm not a scorer, dude.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you maybe could tell me, because I scored it myself at right around 150.
I mean, that's pretty close. But
that buck there, I killed from this one thing that I learned a while ago that I've been trying to key in on with all my deer hunting, and it's there's actually, like, the way that I see it, there's always the spot you want to be, right, which is where that deer is going to cross, or where you're thinking that deer is going to cross. But there always seems to be that, like, small spot within that spot that is exactly where he's going to walk. And for me, that deer that I shot there, they just want to stay in cover just a little bit longer. It seems like a buck will, at least what I've found over here. So like if I'm setting up on the edge of, let's say that there's the edge of a clear cut, and off the edge of that clear cut, there's a couple pine trees that extend further out into the hardwoods than the rest of it. Or there's a low section of brush, or down in Delaware, Maryland, holly trees that'll maybe come out and create like sort of like just a tiny little subtle point. Or anytime that there's like a couple extra jagger bushes, like sometimes it's very, very tough and obscure to see. But like once you see a deer cross at one time, you know that you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's like there's always that like micro habitat feature within the area that I want to be that if I set up on that, like I used to just be like, oh, I want to put myself to get the most shooting. So like I might put myself in an area where instead of being right on where I think the deer is going to come, I might set myself 30 yards off to the side because I want to shoot way over here in case a deer comes that way. And I found that almost never works. So you got to commit to one spot. But when I try to key in on that, like one piece of cover that's going to allow that deer to stay a slightly more hidden or maybe have just a little bit more security, it seems like that for me has been my like number one, feature 100%. That I set up on to kill deer.
Which is why if there's like a point in the woods, like, and you always notice like, why are they going to the point? Why do they always come to and go to the point? It's because they can stay in the woods longer before they get to the feed, or they can go into the woods quicker when they come off the feed. Like, but you're 100% right. Like they want to stay in cover as much as possible, while still meeting all of their needs. So like, here in Kansas, if you're hunting, big wheat fields, like that's an intimidating thing because you see the wheat fields and you're like, all right, they're all across this thing. Like, where do you set up? Because there's deer all over this wheat field. Again, find the point, like find the part. Well, I've got an example of a property and when people see this, it might help. But like if you find any kind of feature, I've actually got the trail marked because you can notice, the tree line kind of comes out more this way on this side, and it's got a knoll on that side. So literally, like you can sit and watch deer for hours go right across there. You might say, why your tree stand point's not up there? You can't hunt it with any kind of wind, so I don't go up there. But for hours, like you'll see deer just moving right across there. Why? Because again, they can stay in the woods longer on that point and get into it quicker on that point.
And it's such a subtle thing that like I do it all the time. I'll overlook that spot because I don't notice it, especially when you're on the ground. Usually for me, especially in the woods, once I get up in a tree and can kind of see, then I'm like, oh man, I should have been. The amount of times I've climbed up a tree and then I like looked around, I'm like, man, I should really get down and move like 30 yards over there. And then I didn't. Yeah. And the deer walked exactly where I thought it was going to go. It's like, just to happen. That's another tip. And I don't want to share them all in one episode, because again, I'm going to get back to this every episode, but that's another tip. Don't be afraid to move. Like, don't be afraid. Like, I know it's like, well, dude, like I'm going to mess deer up. I'm going to spook them out of here. Don't be afraid to be fluid. Like, don't be afraid to even if you're like hunting out of a ladder stand and you're like, I can't move this all the way over there right now. Just go sit on the ground. Like just walk over there and sit on the ground, but at least you'll be in the right area. I would rather be on the ground in the right area than in a tree watching them over there. Exactly. Like that's for sure. Yep. Yeah. Well, Devin, where can they find Hunt B&B at? So we're on, I think, all the social media now. We're starting up our YouTube channel. We'll be posting a couple hunts in there. Allegheny National Forest buck hunt will be in there. We're going to be going out to Nebraska filming a little bit, so there'll be a lot more going on to that. But pretty much on Facebook and Instagram right now, and then our website, www.thehuntbnb.com. So that's where we're at right now.
How many states do you have properties in?
Well, I know total we're up to about 60 properties now. I think we're in, I want to say like 25 states, 30 states. We're trying to keep expanding. We're actually got a submission today from our new properties in Ohio. But if anybody knows anybody out there that's got properties, or feel free to reach out. We have a contact info form on our page that people can reach out to us on. So
can outfitters book with you?
That we haven't dove into that quite yet, because there are some outfitters down our way, especially for Sika deer, that might be advantageous for. But I'm not opposed to it for sure. So
yeah. Well, I say that. I mean, if you're an outfitter and you just want to, there are some outfitters that when they're done with their prime times, like they'll let guys come in and just rent the cabins and then go out and hunt. So if you're an outfitter, you've got a place that you want to get listed and just sell more hunts out of, like, check these guys out. If you've got a rental and, I could be wrong in saying this. If I am, stop me. But even if you've got a rental that's down on the beach and you go crabbing once a year or whatever, like,
we have a bunch of fishing properties on there as well. And that's another big thing as it relates to outfitters. The fishing outfitters oftentimes don't have lodging. So it'd be a great thing if, you had somewhere that you're trying to, stage your guys at, reach out to us. We might be able to work together and, set people up in your area.
That's awesome, man. I've actually got a fishing outfitter I'm going to get you connected with ASAP out of Oregon. Awesome. All American Guide Service out of Oregon. They don't offer lodging. So maybe they can find a property and get it listed and have kind of Anyways, so if you've got any kind of those ideas, reach out to these guys. If you're looking, to go on a hunt, reach out to these guys. If you've got a late season goose hunt, bird hunt, fishing trip, whatever, check out these guys to find your lodging, because it's, again, going back, it's not just a property, but it's a property that has proven itself. It's a property that they've hunted and fished from. They know the area. They've been to the area. It is a property that is situated near hunting, around fishing. So check these guys out. It will be very beneficial to you. There are very few things that I have with me every time I'm in the outdoors. Whether I am upland hunting, deer hunting, elk hunting, just out shooting my bow, out checking trail cameras, very few things that are always with me. One thing that I always have with me is my binocular harness. And I searched the world for what I felt to be the best binocular harness. In my opinion, there's a fine line in binocular harnesses. Either you get a lot of space for everything you need, but they're big, bulky, and heavy, or they're super streamlined and I just don't have space for everything that I want to have on my chest. Alaska Guide Creations makes phenomenal harnesses. Guys, I wear them all the time. I wear my harness probably every day at some point in my day. And so comfortability is important to me. The way that it stays put where I want it is important to me, but also having enough compartments and being able to move things around modularly to fit it where I want it is also really important to me. I want my rangefinder in a certain place. I want my knife in a certain place. I want my binos to fold out in a certain way. And with Alaska Guide Creations, they have a full line of binocular harnesses that you can make exactly how you want them. I can put different pockets right where it's going to work best for me and my system. Guys, Alaska Guide Creations is the best, hands down, in my opinion, harness you can get, and take it from a guy who pretty much lives in them. Go check out Alaska Guide Creations for your next and your last bino harness. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Y'all have a fantastic week and keep the dusty side up.